Wabi-sabi is an ancient Japanese aesthetic system that values the beauty of the imperfect, the impermanent and the incomplete. Embracing Wabi-sabi is reported to bring calm, clarity and presence into your life. But in a world that is increasingly digital, sterile and demanding of perfection, what place, if any, can Wabi-sabi take in our lives? Hey guys, as you may have guessed, today we're going to be talking about Wabi-sabi. This is a philosophy that I've personally been trying to live out for the last few months, and something that I can really see as having a positive effect on our mental health in this increasingly digital world. Now, how I'm going to structure this video is first just give you a bit of an insight into what Wabi-sabi actually is. Then I'm going to make an attempt to link this ancient Eastern philosophy to modern Western science. There's a load of studies out there that show that perhaps living in a more Wabi-sabi way could be really beneficial to our cognitive performance and just generally our health. And finally, we're going to talk how you can bring elements of Wabi-sabi into a normal modern life. Wabi-sabi at its essence is a worldview based on the acceptance of imperfection and impermanence. So whereas in the modern Western world, most of our ideals and aesthetics have come from the likes of the ancient Greeks, where symmetry and perfection was considered the ultimate beauty, in Wabi-sabi, greatness is actually found in the more inconspicuous details. This might be the crack in a broken cup that's been put together again, or just the wilting nature of a flower. Wabi-sabi actually goes beyond the acceptance of imperfection to actually embracing the what other people might consider ugly nature of things. In Wabi-sabi, you understand that beauty can arise at any moment in time from any medium. If you're familiar with Zen, then some of these concepts might sound quite familiar, and indeed they are. It's actually quite difficult to dissociate Wabi-sabi from Zen. And with the rise of Zen in the West and the purported benefits of acceptance and meditation, why would we stop at the philosophical system? Why wouldn't we also look at Wabi-sabi, the aesthetic that accompanies it? Okay, so time for me to stop harping on about aesthetic systems and philosophies. Why is Wabi-sabi relevant to you today? Well, to understand this, we just need to understand one really interesting scientific phenomenon, and that is attention restoration theory. Attention restoration theory was popularized in the 80s by a guy called Kaplan, and what Kaplan postulated was that in our day, in order to remain sane, functioning, productive humans, what we need is restorative downtime. And what attention restoration theory outlines is what it actually takes to get into a restorative state so that you can then recharge and go back to your work and concentrate for an extended period of time. The 4 steps that Kaplan showed we have to go through to recharge our energy is first to clear our head or concentration, then it's mental fatigue recovery, thirdly it's soft fascination or interest, and finally it's restoration and reflection. So the key here is soft fascination, and it's probably a term that you haven't heard of before, but you might have experienced it. You know that feeling that you have after maybe you've gone for a jog or you're walking in the park and you're maybe listening to some music or maybe just listening to the birdsong, and afterwards you feel completely restored? Well, most likely you've gone through this phase of soft fascination. And what it means is that you are stimulated enough that you can get out of your own head. So this might be listening to some music, paying attention to some river flowing by, whatever it might be, but you're not overstimulated to the fact that you can't rest and recover. And what Kaplan showed through these studies is that actually the most conducive environments for soft fascination are natural ones. So that could be a park, or it could just even be looking at a picture of something natural, or even just being in an environment surrounded by natural materials. The real problem with the modern times that we live in at the moment is that we rarely enter these phases of soft fascination. When you're looking for downtime, you're probably more likely to pick up your phone and text your friends or go through Instagram or Facebook than you are to just sit and look at a single thing or walk through a park. And this becomes a real problem because it means that throughout the day, we're never actually having the time to recharge. So when we get back to work, we don't feel rested, we just feel more drained. Okay, so now you're probably joining the dots. In order to be happy and productive humans, we need restorative downtime. In order to have restorative downtime, we need soft fascination, and soft fascination is best facilitated by the natural world or being around objects that have a strong inclination towards nature. This is why I think Wabi-sabi has such promise to help us achieve soft fascination. It's literally a design system based around the natural world. So what are the conflicts between living a Wabi-sabi life and also living in the internet age? Well, I think we need to take a look at some of the principles of Wabi-sabi compared to some of the principles of modern day technology and software design. The first difference is geometric organization versus organic organization. When you look at the Wabi-sabi aesthetic, everything is ordered in an organic way, but that just means ordered through nature. So there's no real logical structure in place. Everything should be as it would naturally arise. This is the complete opposite to how we build products in tech. Everything is very logical, everything is geometrical, everything is squares or triangles or circles. So there's two massive differences between Wabi-sabi and the modern day design system. Secondly, we have Wabi-sabi on the one hand, which is embracing the imperfect and modern pixel perfect design. If you're ever applying for a job as a designer at a tech company, you're probably going to see these words, pixel perfect, and it means just that. When you're considering a design, you want every pixel to be just in the right place. This is obviously completely against the imperfect nature that Wabi-sabi touts. Now, these two design systems aren't just about the visual, they're also about what you hear. So with Wabi-sabi, you're going to be thinking about natural sounds. That could be sounds from animals, bird songs, it could be the sound of the wind in the grass. When we talk about digital design, it's often very digital, it's clicks. When you click on something, it's taps, it's sounds that aren't necessarily natural, but perhaps are satisfying to hear and indicative that you've taken the right action on the app or the website. Digital products, by their nature, are meant to be logical and consistent. I think it's very hard to imagine that they're ever going to become Wabi-sabi. The idea of a digital product is that they want to get you to perform an action. When you're on Uber, it's not to give you a restorative experience, it's to help you make booking a taxi as quick as possible. And this is how it should be. These products are tools to help us get to places. The danger comes when these products market themselves or are even used as a way for people to relax. If you're scrolling through Twitter or Instagram, just pay attention to the fact that the design system for this product is not conducive to you being restored. All it's there for is to, in a very logical way, get you to do the next scroll, click on the next tweet, go on to the next video. Just something to be aware of when you're interacting with these products. The one caveat to this, actually, which is quite interesting, is Headspace and Calm, two apps that are basically designed to help you restore, do actually have some Wabi-sabi elements in them. If you look at the Headspace play button, when it plays, it's a very irregular circle that sort of moves in and out of itself. Quite a Wabi-sabi design element. Also, when you look at the Calm app, all of the sounds in that app are natural sounds. You've got the whooshing of the wind, you've got the splash of the waves. So just an interesting example of how through digital design you probably could have some Wabi-sabi element, it's just not very prevalent. So what can we do to get a bit more Wabi-sabi and soft fascination in our ever increasingly digital lives so that we can restore our energy rather than depleting it throughout the day? Well, I think the first thing to bear in mind is that when you're on a digital medium interacting with anything digitally, it's probably going to be very difficult for you to restore your energy. Now, there are exceptions. I actually saw recently there's this woman in China who's gone completely viral, and she's literally just filming herself out in the country doing jobs that the peasants out there would have been doing like 100, 200 years ago. So traditional cooking, chopping of the grass, traditional farming, etc. And it's really interesting to see why this has become popular. Like, people obviously have some intrinsic need to watch these things to relax, and I think that this idea of soft fascination and wabi-sabi really helps to explain that. So yeah, I think there's definitely digital tools out there that could really help you with restoring yourself throughout the day. Having said that, I think they're probably few and far between, and generally if you set out half an hour of time to watch YouTube or to go through Instagram or whatever it is you might do in your downtime, you're probably going to find it difficult to get restored. So maybe an option would just be to consider, right, I'm down on energy now, I need to recharge. Probably the best thing for me is not to be on my phone, but actually to go outside and just have a walk around, take in the trees or the park or whatever it might be. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Today we've gone through wabi-sabi and what this ancient Japanese tradition can teach us. Then we've tried to apply some modern day science to wabi-sabi, looking at attention restoration theory and how soft fascination and wabi-sabi are very linked. And then we've discussed how, while living in a very digital world, having a wabi-sabi lifestyle and getting a lot of soft fascination might be more difficult. There are definitely ways of achieving it, whether that's through watching videos with a big emphasis on nature, or just being a bit more conscious about when you're using your phone to restore your energy. If you like this video, you can bang subscribe. I'm weekly putting out videos about simplicity in the digital world. Thanks a lot.